Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Justin Verlander is a San Francisco Giant. Another big trade. Trevor Plouffe he's like anarchy, avoiding the fire. Jolly Olive is here. Let's talk ball. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. My name is Jake Storielli. I am joined by Jolly Olive, Jack Oliver, Mets Nation. Rise up. Producer Rob Sirocco on the ones, twos, and threes. And yeah, Trevor Plouffe. I guess everyone go tweet at Trev. Be safe. He's living in a post-apocalyptic society right now. He called me this morning while I was at the gym. No big deal. He called me and he's like, I'm driving around with my new puppy, Palmer Plouffe, and they were just hunting for gas stations or things with electricity. So, hey, I know Sirius isn't our normal beat on this show, but yeah, if you got friends out there looking, some of the stuff on the interstate is insane. Doesn't look like the real world. So, check on all your friends and family out there. For now, let's talk a little ball. And Jolly Olive, you're here.
I am, Jake.
The Trevor Plouffe replacement.
That's my nickname in high school, actually.
The Royce Lewis, some people.
Oh, easy with that.
He says that. How are you?
I'm good. Had a crazy commute this morning. Probably not the commute that Trevor Plouffe is currently having, so best wishes to him. I should check in on him, send him a text after. But I'm good. We got a little bit of news to talk about. We got some rumors to discuss, and I'm excited. My first TB of 2025.
Wow. Yeah, we're in January. Well, hey, Justin Verlander's resume is enough to lead off any show. And the Lux trade is just weird. And then there's Rooker and Rasmussen extended by your A's and Rays. I don't know. I don't know the deep dive on that. And I want to ask you a couple Mets questions along the way because Pete's still out there and there's 3 from 90 from the Mets. Boris is looking for not 3 for 90, about 3 times that, literally.
Yeah.
9 for 2.
9 for 2 something, 2+.
I like Pete Alonso getting a contract. I don't like Pete Alonso getting that contract. We can daydream on that in a little bit. First, let's talk about Justin Verlander signing with the San Francisco Giants. 1 year, $15 million. The Giants always in the mix, always in the running, and they get it done, and they kind of round out what looks like an interesting rotation, and it's all brought to you by Z-Biotics. I have to tell you about this game-changing product. Use it before a night out with drinks. It's called Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol. After a night with drinks, the old dog doesn't bounce back like it used to. Maybe we can ask JV about that.
I was going to say.
You can either have a great night or a great next day until Z-Biotics pre-alcohol got in the mix. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. Okay, science class. Byproduct, not dehydration. That's to blame for your rough next day. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Every time you have pre-alcohol before drinks, you feel the difference the next day. Even after a night out, I can confidently plan on being ready to record the next day without worry. So go to zbiotics.com/talk and get 15% off your first order when you use Talkin at checkout. Pre-alcohol is backed with 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Head to zbiotics.com/talk and use code Talkin at checkout, 15% off. So Jolly, JV, the old horse, we were joking, what else does he want in this game at a certain point? Turns 42 on February 20th, 220, 420's cousin. He has 9-time All-Star, 2-time ERA champ, 3-time Cy Young, 2-time World Series, a famous wife, a famous brother. What's going on here?
Well, I first want to say, looking at his baseball card is just a great way to start the day.
Yeah.
This is just, it's Bonds level for pitchers. There's just so much bold. So, I'm serious, but 42 years old,
Yes.
Coming off a year where he pitched under 100 innings, ERA above 5. You look at that, you balk a little bit, but also it is Justin Verlander.
Sure.
And I can speak from a point of experience. A couple of years ago, my Mets signed Justin Verlander, and there was a lot of talk about age and does he still have it? And I'm not going to lie to you, when they brought him in, I was excited because of the name, Justin Verlander, and everything that comes with that. That was season 18. This is season 20 for Justin Verlander. So how much is truly left in that tank? I like him as a 5, but I honestly thought that with him and Max Scherzer and even Clayton Kershaw, who seems like he goes back to the Dodgers every year on a 1-year deal, shout out Hiroki Kuroda, that it might have just been the end for those dudes. And you don't always get the perfect send-off. Like, right. I wouldn't say that 2024 was the perfect send-off for Justin Verlander, but it felt like the end for me. So I was pretty shocked to get this notification. I'm curious to see what tinkering the Giants can do with him. And the rotation of Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, and Justin Verlander, it definitely it gets your attention. I'll say that.
It's got a little bit of everything. You want the reliever turned starting pitcher? Here's Jordan Hicks, who throws 100, and let's see what a full season in the rotation looks like. Robbie Ray, with that's a unique Baseball Reference page, was the leader in like strikeouts from a starting pitcher for a while into his career. Won a Cy Young. He's been off the map, hurt, moved around a little bit. Let's get him a full season instead of his 7 starts last year. Logan Webb, ironically as stable as a thing as you'll find in baseball, and Chris Rose rotation, so we love that. And Kyle Harrison, the young, talented lefty that there's some days he looks awesome, and there's other days you're like, he a one-pitch pitcher? And now Justin Verlander is listed as the 5. I'd love to see if this rotation's healthy coming into opening day. I don't know if you do that to the cat just out of respect to the resume. The stuff I don't know. How much does having Justin Verlander around actually matter? And whether that's being a young pitcher and talking to the Kyle Harrisons and Jordan Hicks and, Tristan Beck and some other guys on deck. What does that actually do to a pitching staff? Is that really cool? Is it everyone actually picking his mind and he's that guy and he's about that role? Is it not? Is Justin Verlander here to pitch? And sure, like any other pitcher on a staff, there's some conversations, but what can they really learn from that guy? I don't know. We can pocket that for maybe Coach Trev or Buster Posey next time we talk to him. Jolly, we're both baseball nerds in an endearing way. Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, Justin Verlander. This feels like a video game out of the park. How did we get here? Rotation a little bit. Can you talk yourself into it? Let's leave the NL West out and the Dodgers and all of that. Just looking at that rotation on paper, are you like, hey, we could look up in September and be like, okay, Robbie Ray found it. Verlander's pitching in a big ballpark. Logan Webb's Logan Webb. If Kyle Harrison or Jordan Hicks, can you talk yourself into it?
I think it's all about innings. You mentioned some other options they have. Hayden Birdsong's another one. This is a team that could roll out a 6-man, and I think it would be beneficial to everyone in that rotation except Logan Webb, who is as reliable as they come, as you said. I mean, first 8 starts of last year before he got a neck injury, and it basically derailed his entire season. Verlander had a 3.26 ERA in 47 innings. Small sample, sure, but that's 2 months worth of starts.
But that's also very online what he did the previous 2 years.
Exactly. So it's about, can you keep him healthy? And it only gets harder every year that passes. I don't know. And is it worth a $15 million gamble? I know that they have capital to spend. One thing about the Giants, they will always spend their money in some capacity, and you have to respect that to a certain degree. It's just, was this the right gamble to take? Because there's plenty of other starting pitchers still available that I think are probably going to land on 1-year deals. But at the same time, I don't know how much it hurts the Giants, if that makes sense. Like if Verlander does show up and he's not healthy and this is the final year and the send-off, I don't think the Giants are too much worse for wear. It's kind of in my opinion, a low risk, middle reward kind of thing. Because if you keep him healthy, you you know what he's capable of, even at this old age. He won a Cy Young at age 39. You know?
Yeah, I think with Verlander there's upside. I think the rotation, each guy you can give yourself a pep talk, but that might be the problem. Like Logan Webb is as stable can be for a one in this league. But the rest of the guys, something's gonna click. Like Robbie Ray can tap into something. Verlander could. Like I won't bet against him. I don't know if I'm gonna bet on him either. But for 1 year, and that's kind of one of the corny baseball things now. But a 1 year deal. Is there anything that's a bad 1 year deal? I would say yes.
Yeah.
If it goes wrong,
I would.
Yes. I guess it's interesting you bring up the other available pitchers because, who's still out there? It's Jack Flaherty who wants to get a bag, so we can rule that comparison out for now. Although, let's see what happens. And the Giants, they were supposedly in on Corbin Burns. They were in on a couple other guys, so it's not like they didn't have the money to necessarily spend, but they decided to go the 1 year Verlander route. Which, okay, Pavetta's probably not in that mix. He's probably going to get
love Pivetta though.
He's going to get a multi-year from someone. So then you're looking at, okay, Heendog, Andrew Heaney, Gibby, Corbin, Quintana might get a multi-year deal.
I would have loved Quintana for this team.
I think I agree with you.
Ground balls with that infield defense. Really?
Yeah, they still think Quintana might get a couple years. So again, maybe it's apples and oranges a little bit, but you have to assume it's going to be in the same ballpark as this. Scherzer, which again, these old bulls, Scherzer and Verlander, when we did the free agency episode, Chris Rose and Trev, we had a lot of, I'm going to say cockamamie, but I don't know. Whoa. I don't think that's the right word either way. But we had a lot of fluff or debate about what these old guys want to do because they're not going to. Justin Verlander, okay, career earnings.
Oh God. This guess might be terrible by me. I have to assume it's above like 300.
Justin Verlander career earnings listed as 404.
Go spend time with your wife.
No, it's a nice chunk of money. $1 million. That's wild. He's got that times 400. Quick math. Max Scherzer, you want to guess?
I think more actually, maybe 425.
351.
I'm bad at this.
It's okay. I think they're both in like top 10 money made all time.
I was thinking his Nationals deal was a lot.
We wondered how they were going to treat their free agency. I was kind of leaning into a Verlander Tigers thing, kind of put a bow on it. Trev was like very mad at that for some reason. San Francisco, kind of interesting how people view that city now. It was kind of viewed as one of the coolest cities. Now there's some middle area on it that it's kind of an anxiety city a little bit. I don't know. I guess the thing for me, Justin Verlander still wants to do it, which I will appreciate. Because I would think we're still going to get some good Justin Verlander outing. It's so I was going to say this before you lumped Kershaw with them. Kershaw's 36.
That's crazy. I had him closer
I know. We have this weird thing with Kershaw where we were talking about him retiring at like 32.
Arguably, he got the best send-off. I know he didn't pitch in the run, but he got the ring.
And when does he sign with Texas?
No.
I feel like that's gotta.
I don't know.
That has to happen at some point. I don't know. Hey, if Verlander wants to pitch, this Giants team, maybe they find something this year. They extended Matt Chapman. Willie Adames with one of the bigger contracts.
Been a good offseason
of free agency. Jung-Hoo Lee hopefully coming back and being healthy this year, and then their young guys who will fully click. Patrick Bailey, offensive prowess behind the dish. Elliot Ramos, celebrity of the show. My God. Tyler Fitzgerald, what he did in his sample size. Hayden, show me your bird song. If this is where the NL West is, Dodgers are in another world. I guess who do you like next? And it seems like it's a Diamondbacks Giants conversation, which feels rude to the Padres, but they got a whole nother.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother legal pod that we debated. being honest with the people we debated doing something on, and we're like, this is kind of out of our realm.
I mean, I think a labor pod on that would be good for the people because it's a hairy situation over there.
Scary.
Ownership tug of war is always bad, and they haven't done much. So I think it's fair to say that it is Giants Snakes right now. I think I still lean Snakes. You got to remember that they were the most high-powered offense in baseball last year. They just happened to miss the playoffs due to a tiebreaker, and they added Corbin Burns to their rotation, and they're probably going to do more things because they're going to trade Jordan Montgomery. But I think the Giants put themselves deeply in the conversation because of what they did this offseason. They have one of the best left sides of the infield in baseball, and this Verlander signing is kind of like a little cherry on top. We'll see.
I wonder if they get in the mix on anything else. Right now, Wilmer Flores is listed as their DH. The Wilmer Flores pod.
My guy.
And he had some amazing years, and then last year was not as amazing. I wonder if they're in the mix for anything else, because right now, it looks like a Giants team. There's a little more upside than past years. I think that's fair to say. Willie Thomas, I mean, that can be significant. If they could do one more thing, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if they'd want to be in the Pete Alonso game. I don't know if they'd want to. I mean, hey, you got a DH spot, and Lamont Wade's listed at first, who gets on, and I guess he plays first base. Giants fans, let me know what that looks like on a regular basis. To really get into the Giants, you'd love to see one more move, one more bat that you can believe in the lineup. Because right now, I don't.
How about a switch hitting guy who probably profiles best as a DH and loves to hit in the gaps? Anthony Santander?
I'm very interested to see
I
where
haven't
his
heard
market
a word
is, right?
about him at all.
And there's a ton of fits. Blue Jays, I think Houston's an amazing fit for him.
I liked that. That was your thing.
I think, and yeah, San Francisco should be. So I'm interested to see where that market goes next. A lot of teams should be in on that, and it's been oddly quiet on the Western Front. Anything else on Verlander?
Dalton added one good nugget down here that I got to mention. Verlander's worn 35 his entire career. The Giant that wore 35 famously for the team most recently, Brandon Crawford.
Ooh.
What do you do with that? Do you think they talked about that? Because Crawford is like number retirement level for the Giants. 3 rings, the best shortstop defensively during his time. 30 WAR. Like, what do you do there?
Jolly / Dalton, you're forgetting that Justin Verlander wore 59 when he first got called up.
Right. His rookie year, which was, I think, when you were 10 and I wasn't alive yet. That. Right.
I still wearing this jacket and I'm in my Build-A-Bear phase. This was a gift from my mom. You're going to comment below. I know.
We haven't talked about it yet.
We're going to get some office reaction for socials. It's a lot. I think I could do better with it.
The green is just throwing everything off.
It's reversible too. Straight brown on the other side.
Can you have, well, now you have to show.
Crazy.
You can't just drop that and not show.
You got to do that at the end of the episode. That's how you see. Oh,
what do we got?
Ahmed Rosario to the Nationals.
Is this a Mets pot?
Oh my God.
$1 million.
Wow. The Nats are loading up. Ahmed Rosario kind of just playing baseball in the wrong era. Hitting 300 and
can't find a home.
Kind of available to play every position. Does this make the Nats the favorite in the NL East? Let's talk about that. Actually, other stuff in a second. Let's see if you have. I think that's it on the Giants, right?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Best of luck, and Giants fans, close your ears for this. If the first half of the season doesn't go as hoped.
Oh. Can't end with that.
There's a reason Justin Verlander's still playing baseball.
Crazy. One more stint with the Astros?
The 15 mil isn't help. I saw him sign with another team and do that.
It's true. What cap does he wear in the Hall of Fame?
Indeed. Today's episode is sponsored by Indeed. Just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. San Francisco, JV. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, Sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. Talking Baseball listeners will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/talkin. That's Indeed.com/talkin right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/talkin. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. Look at that. Jolly, I said I didn't know when I was going to punch you in the face with this, but again, when I looked at that San Francisco Giants lineup, they could use 35 homers and a DH first baseman. So
Sure.
I want to get a little Alonso pulse check on you because
Okay.
I think your Mets are still the favorites to bring him back. I don't know if that's your opinion. I don't know if that's DraftKings' opinion. I guess where are you at with Pete this offseason or your Mets who were loud on the Western Front and now it's been a little quiet?
Yeah, it's been a funky offseason in Queens. We all know the big ticket move, but Pete was kind of an expected return, and I thought it was going to happen way sooner than it has because it hasn't happened at all. I think the Mets are in a situation where they don't want to bid against themselves. For those who don't know, there was a report that the offer was 3 years for $90 million. Pete Alonso is going into his age 30 season. That would have taken him to his age 32 season. Last year, Pete turned down a pretty hefty extension. It was a 7-year, $150+ million offer. He turned that down, wanted to bet on himself. Had a good year. By all accounts, we can't say that Pete had a bad year. He hit 34 home runs,
Right.
123 OPS plus.
Played every game.
Played every game, which matters a ton. But it was down from his previous years because Pete Alonso had some really big boy years. Go check it out if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Nice postseason.
Really nice
Should
postseason.
matter.
I think that should matter as well. Great point, Jake.
Yeah.
We're watching. So now we're in a predicament where Pete wants to basically outdo that extension offer, and his new agent, Scott Boras, his job is to get that deal done. There was a report that came out from Will Salmon, who does a great job for The Athletic covering the Mets, that Scott Boras is currently using Prince Fielder's 9-year, $200+ million contract with the Tigers as the barometer for what he thinks Pete should get. To Prince's credit, Prince played up to that contract up until that neck injury, which basically ended his career very abruptly. It was a very unfortunate situation, but he was that guy for the first 3 years of that deal before he got hurt. The problem is that the market just isn't there for Pete. I think the only other team we've really heard is the Angels, which whoever knows what's going on around there. They don't want to rebuild. They want to spend. I guess that makes sense. With Pete, it's gotten real quiet real fast, though, ever since these rumors and reports have come out. And I'm worried. And I'm going to use a comparison because you asked for the temperature. I'm going to go from Mets experience. Our good friend who just signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers on a deal that I think is going to work out great for them, Michael Conforto, had a pretty decent 5-year extension offer from the Mets that he turned down. Unfortunately, Mike got injured, so it's a bit of a different situation. But he wanted to bet on himself. The bet didn't go through, and then he's kind of been floating around for a little bit in San Francisco, landing with the Dodgers now. But you think about how different things might have been had he said yes. The same can be applied to Pete here if he doesn't come back on this 3-year deal. But I don't think the Mets should overextend themselves, if that's what the question is. I think that their offer is what their offer is, and you can't bid against yourself in this situation when you're trying to build a championship caliber roster. So if they have to pivot, like we mentioned before, there are still guys out there. Your Santanders, your Bregmans, your Ahmed Rosarios are unfortunately off the board, but the Mets have options they can pivot to. I just think that with the fan base and the lineage and what he's done here, I think all sides would like to see a reunion. It's just, where does that number land?
Yeah, it's interesting because, Pete has, the defense isn't electric. I think if you've got enough defense around Pete, it doesn't have to restrict your team in any way. The stat that was out there, the Scoop King, Jimmy was deep diving into that. That
Matters.
video come out?
Oh, yeah, that came out.
Yeah, I was going to say that was last last week, 3 weeks ago. What
That was one of the
year
cool,
is it?
like, I feel like I watch this guy every day and I notice this thing. Is this real? And then he proved it.
And then
I
it
was like,
came
oh,
out.
great.
Alonso, this feels rude, but it's what teams give out free agent contracts. There's questions about how it can age.
Yeah.
And if he is on a decline, which it's interesting if you're looking at 2022 to now, yes. Also, no. Like, offense was down last year. It was the same OPS plus as 2023. It's starting to feel to me like he is going to land in one of those Matt Chapman, Cody Bellinger contracts, which, bring up my friend James again, he was horrified at that at first. And he's like, this sucks for the players. They're not getting the guaranteed money. And you're right. You're absolutely right. And if one of the teams comes to Pete with that 6 or 7 years and 175 or 2, wherever it lands, I think he will sign on the dotted line. If teams are playing chicken with that, Pete'll probably get himself that 3-year contract with opt-outs after every year, which if you're a player of Pete Alonso's ability and you put together one good season in the next 3 years, then you're going to get that contract and maybe more. Look at what Matt Chapman did. He got, 6 for 162 or something like that? 162 was the number. I forget the years. Which, again, it's not, you shouldn't be stoked about it because we're comparing this to guaranteed, no matter what happens, it's done. I'm interested to see how the other shoe drops with Belly, because if my guy Belly plays some center field and hits 30 homers this year for the New York Yankees, he's all in. He's might get more of a payday than he originally would have got. So it's tough to think about it that way. And for a lot of people, you don't care anyways because it's so many millions of dollars. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's not that Verlander money, but it feels like it's going to land there. And I wonder if you're Pete Alonso, then does the team become more important? Because obviously him being a pure power hitter, San Francisco, who we just mentioned, Pete's got that right center field power gap that might go away. That I wonder what ends up back on the table. I wonder what silly rumors we get. Like, I think the Mets are going to be in play the whole way. I wonder, if Houston could get back involved. Like, I know they signed Christian Walker for first, but could they do Pete at DH, Jordan in left? I don't know if they want to do that with Jordan's body. It'll be interesting to see who comes out of the woodwork if that price continues to go down. Are my Diamondbacks flush with cash? They could use a 1B, and he would hit there.
Oh, yeah.
Not a doubt. Seattle, always rumored. I think it's going to end up being Mets.
I don't know.
Yeah?
I don't know. I do not think with David Stearns in charge that he is going to go any higher than that offer for a first baseman who is turning 30 and is not a plus defensively. And I think Pete gets shafted a little bit by the defensive metrics. I think he's fine defensively. I think he's improved from what he was a couple of years ago. But he was, I don't want to say doomed, but his situation got worsened a ton on that day where everyone signed a first baseman. Like Cleveland got Santana, Arizona got Naylor, and who knows if he DHs or not. Walker went to Houston. Like, his market went from 8 teams to 1.5, if you want to count Angels thing as being real. Whereas, before that all happened, I was like, yeah, Pete could totally get a 5-year deal, and I wouldn't blame him if he left. Now I don't know, because the Nats added 3 first basemen in the same day. They have Josh Bell and Nate Lowe now, or Lowe, whatever it is. Sorry. Nathaniel.
Thank you.
My bad. So I don't know. And I think Pete's going to have to play a little bit of the waiting game. And will that better his market? I wouldn't say so, because I think everyone's eyes are kind of shifting to Bregman now a little bit too. It's a tough situation to be in. And you kind of just think, what if he just took the 7-year deal and be in the situation?
Yeah. And I guess that's because Stearns offered that deal or no? Yeah.
That was a Stearns led deal.
So that's got to be in the back of everyone's heads. I think the Mets still have to do something with their lineup.
They need another bat.
Yeah. No shots fired at Brett Beatty or even my guy Siri playing in center, although I think they like The way he plays defense.
Probably a little platoon there with Tyrone.
Oh, my God.
Where's
Remember
he gonna
that?
go?
Remember all that?
No.
I don't know.
It's Luis Arias.
Bregman and Pete are definitely in play for the Mets, and I wonder if you can get Bregman for the same price and we're playing defense, but there's question. I don't know. The first base supply and demand definitely hurt Pete this free agency.
It's tough. You can't
Nathaniel
plan for that
Lowe
kind of thing.
is a 120 OPS plus, solid defender, lefty bat. He got traded for a lefty reliever. What?
I mean, guy's got good stuff, years of control, but yeah, like that was a like realization point for me of like, oh, I don't think Pete's gonna get what he's looking for.
Like if you're the Washington Nationals, it was okay, get 2 years of Nathaniel Lowe, maybe his prime years for $10 million and $14 million for a reliever, or pay Pete $25 a year for 6-7 years.
9 years?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I understand. I understand what our guy Scotty B's doing,
yeah.
but okay. So you want the Mets need one more hitter?
They do.
I think you're right. And you don't. Alonso, Bregman.
I don't think Santander's a fit.
DH spot's kind of available.
Kind of.
But yeah, you need an infielder.
Bregman is arguably a better fit. Then you can move
Right.
Mark to first base, which I feel is a more natural position for him. Your defense gets better, and you still get the same offensive production.
Out of the park, Mark, man. Remember all that?
Oh, yeah.
The barrel of his bat just making home runs happen?
Full season.
Got to link up with him. Connecticut ties in
Seems
there.
like a cool dude. You follow him on Instagram?
I don't. I'm open to it. I follow someone else on Instagram that was hanging out with Mark Vientos, and they seemed.
I got a story like, but I didn't get a follow, and I was like, so
Oh.
I'm right there.
Story like is
Story
nice,
like is
though. You got to
something.
go out of your way.
That's something.
Everyone knows.
I'm around.
Careful with those story likes, okay?
Don't just be throwing them
And
out.
sometimes the claps, because that ends up being like a DM.
Don't tell me you've done a clap.
No. I don't do
Okay.
the clap. I think I've got people clap. Okay.
Hang on.
I think I've got people
Hang on.
clapping me
So you
that
had
don't
it-
understand the significance of the clap.
You paused and you still said it afterward.
Why don't you guys head to DraftKings?
Clap for that.
Football fans, holy smokes. And you know when I hit my smokes like that, I'm not joking around. It's playoff time. It's a huge weekend. Go check out the calendar. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There are big playoff football games. And right now, at the DraftKings Sportsbook, all new customers will get $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5 when you use code TALKIN. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on in-progress games as they happen, making watching the game that much more exciting. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code TALKIN. Bet just $5 on any wager. Get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code TALKIN only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Go click around. DraftKings, and you get permission from a baseball show. If you're looking for a Thursday through Sunday to watch some football, you found it. And do that with DraftKings as well. Jolly, what we were expecting to have as the first topic on this show 24 hours ago, it was the Gavin Lux trade. And it's an interesting one. And maybe part of the reason it got pushed is it feels like it's a trade away from the trade, but I don't know, because there's some interesting quotes here from Nick Kroll, the Reds GM, which always makes me laugh because Nick Kroll.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I think I followed him on Instagram the other day. More
He's a good
followers than
follow.
I thought.
Oh no, he's
big, but I don't know.
John Mulaney.
Right.
They're like this.
Gavin Lux, Dodgers, 2-time World Series winning middle infielder. Remember there was that postseason he was thrown in center field.
Tried him at short for a little bit.
Former top prospect. A tale of two kitties for him last year. A weird first half, a 562 OPS. Balled out in the second half. 304 batting average and 899 OPS. He gets traded to the Reds who feel like they've had a glut of infielders. Like, isn't this why we traded away Jonathan India to Cincinnati for a prospect? Our guy Mike Sirota, careful which baseball circle you say that around, was on his page yesterday. Interesting. Got drafted out of high school by the Dodgers, and then he didn't go. And then they go and get him. So the Dodgers really like Mike Sirota, which watch out for that. And a competitive balance pick. It should be around pick 37 of the draft. So I don't know. Two guys you'd consider decent prospects, or pick your prospect with the other one, for 2 years of Gavin Lux. And it's what are the Reds going to do? Because right now their lineup looks funky. I guess they have options. For me, this feels like a move before the move, but it could also just not be.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it with the whole domino theory. I think something else is coming. Also, I want to say, given the Dodgers, the 34th pick feels dangerous. Feels like they're going to get something good there. Yeah. That's just what they do. With Lux, it was the tale of two halves. You remember in the first half, people were ready to run him out of town when Miggy Rowe came over. Everyone was like, play him every day.
Throw him in the Willie Adames trade. Like, figure it out.
Out of here. Instead, he turns in a pretty solid year, ends up league average offensively, and contributes on their postseason run. He had the sac fly in the World Series game that helped them get that win in Game 5. With Lux, it's kind of funky because, like you said, they finally did the India trade, which, everyone has their takes on that. I thought it was a fine return for that. And now you're in the same predicament. And this is all stemming back to the Candelario deal they signed last year, which still kind of confuses me because, again, wasn't the whole thing that we have too many infielders and some of them are young and really talented, like Matt McClain. And now you're creating a logjam. So right now he's listed as their 9-hitting DH on roster resource, which that's a problem, right? And I guess the question becomes, what is the lateral move? I don't think the move is trading Lux again. I think he's on this team. Is Lux an outfielder? Because you already have a really good defensive outfield between Friedel and Fraley in center and right. So what is the move? Because if it's trading Matt McClain, I'm not a fan of this deal. I know that McClain missed all of last year. He had the shoulder injury, which gets scary. A little bit less scary for position players, in my opinion, but still scary. But McClain put together a 3-WAR season in 90 games in his rookie year. That's a basically 6-WAR pace for a 23-year-old second baseman who's a plus defender and can really rake. I'd like to have him play a full season at Great American Ballpark and see the ludicrous numbers he can put up. If the Reds are shopping him, it means that maybe things are off with that injury and it's a little bit more severe than maybe we all expect. Or 2, they really believe in Gavin Lux and they see something that maybe other teams are not seeing. Either way, this was not the landing spot I had for him. I thought he was a possible Yankee, thought he was a really good fit there. A lot of teams can use a second baseman. The market was pretty weak in free agency. Instead, he's a Cincinnati Red, and now it feels like we're kind of back at square one with our Reds predicament of we need a trade to happen.
Yeah, I was doing a quote-unquote instant reaction just as it came to me, and I was like, all right, so we've got, in this lineup is not listed Noelvi Marte, who is supposed to be,
right,
a massive part of their future. He obviously popped for PEDs, came back and was not good. So where is he currently at?
Back to Seattle?
Matt McClain, like you said, missed a whole year with a shoulder, which for a hitter, for any baseball player, actually, kind of scary.
Yeah.
But he's 25. When he was up there, I was hammering the table. People should be talking about Matt McClain instead of Ellie De La Cruz in that window.
I agreed with you.
In that window, because Matt McClain was balling. Yeah, I'm interested to see, like, is this, are they viewing this as, hey, this is a situation that can take care of itself? Because in theory, they have a rotation. Hunter Green, Brady Singer, Andrew Abbott, Nick Martinez, Nick Lodolo. Right now it has Graham Ashcraft as depth. Williamson is hurt. Do they have any other guys in AAA? Rhett Lauder, like he came up and he pitched last year.
Keep your eye on him.
So in theory, like you could say the Reds have their team heading into the season. And that positional stuff will figure itself out. And they always felt like they kind of had a hole last year. Like Friedel was missing for a chunk of time. Noelvi. So maybe, Trev, I was going to say, the biggest baseball laugh Trev has gotten out of me was talking about teams. When we talk about teams having to trade a guy because there's depth, and Trev was just like, we call that depth. That used to be incredible. Like, teams used to want that.
That's what the Dodgers do. They get everyday starters and make them bench players or AAA farmheads.
And somehow it figures itself out. So, I'll be interested to see, could there be like a Jamer dump for them? Because that contract has turned sour kind of quickly. Go check out that Baseball Savant. Scary.
Yeah.
I was daydreaming, could that be a bad money swap for another team? But I don't think they need to do that. Stuart Fairchild always plays for them and gives it hell, at least defensively. Santiago Espinal always feels like LOL kind of same, just in the infield. That maybe this is the team they like. I would love if they were using one of these players of value. And the original dream for me was Dylan Cease. Like, who's going to be the Dylan Cease team? What kind of package do you have to give up for him for 1 year? Because, if my Cincinnati Reds that have mildly tortured me the past couple seasons, I guess just last year, I need to pump the brakes on that. If I could look at my Cincinnati Reds and see Hunter Green, who broke out last year, 26 starts at 2.75. It happened. They added Brady Singer, who I was going to say is stable, that could come back and bite me, but he was 32 starts to a 3.71. I mentioned all the other guys. Abbott, Nick Martinez took the qualifying offer. Lodolo, if Rhett Lauder were to happen. I feel like you could dream on the Cincinnati Reds a little bit more. Or maybe the problem with the Reds right now, which I'm struggling with, is like, what's their team identity? Do they hit? I don't know. They were supposed to hit last year. They kind of didn't. Do they run? One guy? For sure. Do they pitch? A few guys. So I don't know. I guess a little more identity from my Reds would make me feel a little better. And we're missing a little pop.
Yeah, I was going to say, we need an outfielder.
I have no problem. It's almost like I have no problem with any of the hitters, but I can't look at a hitter and tell you I'm getting 25 homers next year. Ellie, you would say that. He did last year, and he should take a step up. He's also just on another planet, so maybe.
But that's the thing. Like, you have a hitter on another planet. Like,
it's true.
We need an impact move. Things can go well with Christian Encarnacion Strand, who I think they have a lot of belief in. We obviously mentioned Matt McClain. Like, that is a top 3 that you can get behind. But yeah, all the laughing in the NL Central, I feel like, goes towards the Pirates because they're just routinely last place. They flame out. They have bad management, whatever. They've been to the playoffs more recently in a full season than the Reds, which I feel like doesn't really get talked about. The Reds have kind of just been living in the middle for a long time. And I feel like every year there's like a couple weeks where they're the most fun team in baseball. Like last year, I think was the Dodgers series where they came to town and Ellie stunted on everybody. Maybe that was 2 years ago. But I feel like at some point every year they grab hold of the national spotlight and then for some reason it just fizzles. And now you're in a situation where, like you said, this is a pretty reliable rotation. Like Singer, if nothing else, is going to give you 30 starts. Green broke out fully. Nick Martinez was a 4-WAR pitcher last year. Like, I don't think that's an issue at all right now.
Yeah, I like the pitching more than the hitting, which feels bizarre.
And what's the narrative with Great American Ballpark? Anybody goes there and has a really fun weekend if you're a hitter. Imagine getting to play 81 games there. So if you can give me one more bat in the middle of this lineup and then hope that a couple of the other pieces click, like Candelario just isn't as bad as he was last year, or Steer plays every day and has a nice, like, solid year, then this is a team that should compete in the land of opportunity division that is the National League Central, which the Brewers just kind of waltz into every year and win.
Yeah, I'm now daydreaming. Put Santander in this ballpark. If you put P, it's great. It's tough because I don't think Reds fans can dream on that. But it's kind of wild that their pitching looks okay. like any team, you'd love to see one more arm in the bullpen, but I don't know. Alexis Diaz and then a hodgepodge of guys that can be really good for a year, which is a lot of bullpens. But yeah, I don't know. Hey,
Profar?
maybe the point that should be said a little more. Gavin Lux is 27 and just had a second half that was like almost 300, 400, 500. So maybe the Reds have found a winner there in a hitter's ballpark and all of that, and that's just the simple part of it. Yeah, I guess I'm a little surprised looking at this lineup that used to get me excited with what's the next step for Christian Encarnacion Strand, Spencer Steer, Stevenson, McClain, Ellie, and maybe I'll still feel that way come summer if all those guys live up to what they can do. But yeah, the pop feels just a little thin.
We'll see. Will Benson in AAA. Wouldn't that happen?
He just got pushed down because of the signing. So like they have bodies that make me think something else is coming.
Remember when Reese Hines came up and hit 7 homers in one day?
We don't talk about that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
They got guys.
Dude, they have another move coming.
Yeah.
I'm going to confidently say that. With Noelvi Marte currently listed in their minor leagues, with Will Benson currently listed in their minor leagues. And again, this is on Fangraphs. This isn't last day of spring training and the rosters are coming out. Man, the rotation has depth that I like. That doesn't.
There's a lane.
And now I'm mad at the Pirates.
A little bit.
Why?
Yeah. I'm always mad at the Pirates.
Just how it works.
Always.
There's a couple boxes to check on the way, Jolly. I'm just going to say them all, and if there's anything that feels important to you, I'll let you cook. The A's extended Brent Rooker, so if you had him on your team's trade wish list, Pirates, every team, actually, unless
Pirates.
Your DH was clogged, because that's the question here. Brent Rooker, kind of awesome. He was taken off the Twins' scrap heap. It didn't click. The Athletics gave him an opportunity, and over the past couple years, he has turned into one of the best hitters in baseball. 30 years old, 5-year, $60 million extension with some, what's the word? Multipliers? Escalators.
Nice.
Thank you. That could get you to $90 million. So there's that. Michael Lorenzen, 1 year, $7 million. Okay. Welcome back to Kansas City. He's got something going on there. Mutual option for the next year. And then there was a Drew Rasmussen extension, which I'm happy for you, Drew Rasmussen. I just don't know what we'll be able to add to that. So what of any of that speaks to you?
Lorenzen is cool. I feel like Kansas City's kind of becoming a little pitching factory over there, which is nice for their fans. Let's see if we can get a little more offense, but he's kind of been Mr. Reliable. Back-to-back 2 WAR seasons, 150 innings. That's nice. I would pay for that as well. The Brent Rooker thing is great. I mean, it's a little bit of a middle finger to Oakland fans, which everything has been that Sacramento has done, the past couple of weeks, months. It's good for Brent, the human, who was, like you said, on the scrap heap, played for 3 teams in 1 year at one point, and then found a home in Oakland and found the best version of himself. And I think that some people were saying, how could he not get more, whatever. Like, this was a guy that wasn't sure if he was ever going to get an everyday role after his window kind of passed with Minnesota. So it's great for him to get that contract with the Escalators, like you mentioned. You just wish that, they were still in Oakland and doing the same thing, because then we wouldn't be in the situation that we are. So good for Brent. Still mad at John Fisher, but, that's beyond all of our control.
Par for the course. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can look at it, and if you're in the weeds of baseball or not. Brent Rooker had a 5.6 WAR last year, a 927 OPS. He also has a 6.8 career WAR. So, and he's 30 years old. Right. So, we just talked about Pete Alonso hunting free agency for a contract. Brent Rooker got offered something that a couple years ago he might not have been able to dream on. So good for him. And that's actually why I was laughing the other day at the Charlie Morton contract that you heard of from Rob Sirocco.
Yeah, I was not tuned in.
Charlie Morton with a negative WAR, I think the first 6 years of his career, is still getting offered $15 million to pitch. So there was probably a time when that seemed like that he might never get $15 million, and now he gets that whenever he wants. Let's go, Chuck. Yeah, Lorenzen, sure.
Sure, why not?
Go Royals, go. Hey, I'll say this. There hasn't been a ton of Central talk this year, after looking at the Royals and the Reds on paper, two teams that I think you'd put in similar-ish buckets. You'd
Definitely.
expect the Royals to maybe come down a notch. The Reds with a little more optimism after what happened last year. I like the Royals. And maybe that's me being ignorant. Looking at the Royals back-to-back, I'd much rather this product.
Especially when you compare the divisions too, of like Twins are in a weird spot right now. The Tigers refuse to do anything besides a couple 1-year deals.
Alex Cobb? Come on.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Alex Cobb.
Still the same thing.
It's the same thing. The Royals have had a really nice offseason. The Jonathan India trade gives them their leadoff hitter. They have Seth Lugo for another year for like $10 million or something like that, which is absurd.
Their bullpen looks nice.
Yeah, like the Lucas Erceg trade was a year and a half of control. There's your closer. Good job. They've done a really nice job opening up this window. I didn't understand the Pasquantino trade stuff. That didn't make a lot of sense to me when it was happening. It looks like he's going to be part of the equation too. So this is why not? Let's go back to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Pasquantino trade stuff was you being in office of
Yeah, a little bit.
80%.
The echo chamber of the
fans.
live stream lounge where the 5 Yankee GMs just kind of talk about what players
And
they're getting.
he's entering the time period, 2 or 3 years left.
He's
when
a
player
lefty
can get
and he's got
traded.
pull power,
He's
Rob.
Italian.
Do you know about the short porch?
Pasquantino.
Unbelievable.
I have a flex for the people who've made it this long in the show. Had a nice FaceTime with Vinnie P the other day.
Oh.
He FaceTimed me, which is scary. Me and Vinnie P don't talk a lot. But I was like, oh God, who
Something's wrong.
tweeted what? Who's got to take down their Michael Garcia tweet? Who said something about Hunter Renfroe? No, he was excited to tell me I was in the Royals like hype video from their season.
First like 5 seconds.
Yeah, bat and leadoff. So that was cool. And then we had a brief little catch up. So that was nice.
Sorry about his Jets.
Yeah, that's tough. Hey, Brent Rooker, Vinnie Pasquantino, kind of 2 social media
I love it.
baseball content stars.
Wasn't
these
Brent
days.
Rooker like doing mic stuff for MLB?
It felt like there was 3 weeks where if there was a microphone, Brent Rooker was in front of it.
Live it up, babe.
Yeah,
Live
right?
it up.
Why not? And it seems like I've enjoyed him when I've seen him.
Yeah.
So that's huge news. We will see what is the next piece of huge news that happens, Jolly?
I think it's Alex Bregman.
Yeah.
Plenty of big time 6-7 year deals have happened in the past in mid-January. So
Yeah.
I think that it's coming soon. Like you think, I know we mentioned it before. Max Scherzer signed his Nationals deal in mid-January. Like there are big boy deals happen around this time. I think Bregman made the right choice waiting out the storm, seeing what was left, because I think he's going to get a nice deal.
Where'd you say he was signing again?
I want it to be the Tigers, but I just don't believe at all. I guess the Mets. Why not? What a homer.
Nats would be cool.
Are
Mets
they
would
ready?
be cool. Yanks would be cool.
No.
He's got some options. I think
Plenty.
I think you're right. I think Breggy's going to land in a good spot. I think we've landed in a good spot. Thank you, guys. Send your best wishes to Trev and Chris Rose. I texted him like, hey, hope everything's all right. He's like, about 1 mile away. Jeez. I suck. I feel bad that we're laughing. Chris Rose is pretty
First
serious
text
man.
message Chris Rose ever sent to me, he signed Chris Rose at the bottom of the message.
Flex. Oops.
On an email. He loves a good email
He does.
about anything.
He's pro.
Pro email.
He's a pro. Every facet of Chris Rose.